Well, to discuss more in detail some of those announcements made by the French President Emmanuel Macron, I'm joined in the studio by Mark Perman. Hi to you, Mark. You're a French editor, a French politics editor. Look, so much said there. It was a long speech, as ever, the sixth speech for Emmanuel Macron, the sixth New Year's address, let's say. If we start internationally, he spoke about those unprecedented challenges and said, who would have thought that in 2022 we'd find ourselves with Russia invading Ukraine? He did say, though, we've managed somehow to meet those challenges. Your thoughts on that, Mark?
Yes, obviously, I watched again last year's New Year's address, and he was mainly talking for a third of it about the COVID that was still in full swing. And so he started by saying, I could never have imagined that war would return in Europe after the Russian aggression of Ukraine. Those are his words. That there would be a food crisis, that there would be an energy crisis, that there would be a threat of nuclear weapons being used. He said France has done its share, as well as Europe, to fully back Ukraine by welcoming refugees, by helping Ukraine militarily, financially, and so on. And as we just saw in the clip we played, he said that we managed to withstand the consequences, the economic consequences of all this, higher food prices, higher energy prices. And he said France had helped by putting in place several systems. Some would actually kick in tomorrow as January 1st to continue helping not only individuals but also companies bear the brunt of those higher prices. But he reminded the viewers that France still managed to have less inflation than most of its European neighbors and that unemployment is at a record low. So clearly he wanted to say that, yes, those are new and expected crises, but France, obviously under his command, has been able to withstand the crisis, as well as Europe. Emmanuel Macron always says what we've done for France is also because we believe and we work with Europe. And so he always puts those two in couple, if I may use the expression. And so he said that, yes, those are difficult times, but that he said that we can probably get over this while continuing to support Ukraine. He also took a few minutes to give a message directly to the Ukrainians. He said, we will stand by you fully until the very end. You can really rely on France and on Europe to be with you until the very end.
So as you say there, Mark, a powerful international message, the idea that Ukraine can count on France and equally Europe, which is important for Emmanuel Macron. If we turn our attention to domestic issues, there is this kind of elephant in the room, if you were, this pension reform that has sparked a lot of chaos in France previously. Macron says it's this year that this reform is going to be put in place.
Absolutely. People were waiting because this is the mother of all reforms. This is a reform he promised under his first mandate. He was not able to push it through because there was opposition on the streets in Parliament, and then COVID hit, so it was stopped in the tracks. When he campaigned for re-election, he said, I will bring this back on the table, and despite not winning an outright majority in Parliament, which is causing him a lot of trouble, much more than during his first mandate, he vowed again tonight that this reform would be presented in the next few days. January 10th is the day when it will be presented in front of the cabinet. And he said implementation would begin at the end of this summer, 2023. And he said we need to work longer because our system is under threat, under financial threat. He said if we wanted to survive the way we know it, we have to work longer. This has to be done in a fair and progressive way. He did not go into details, said whether the legal age of retirement should go up to 64 or 65 years, like has been already discussed, because he knows that this is highly inflammable. The unions have already said this is a no-go, and he doesn't have the majority in Parliament. So this is an extremely tricky issue. He already had his share of trouble during his first mandate, as I mentioned. This could really spell trouble, but this is the way of him conveying the message. I was elected first to reform France. It's not because I was reelected with a less important majority, that I will
address
stop
those issues.
reforming, and this is going to be tough because the unions have already said we're going to demonstrate. They've managed to force him to back him once. This could happen again. So this is a gamble for Emmanuel Macron, but he wants to push it through. He's hoping that he can maybe reach an agreement with the Conservative Party in Parliament to sail this through Parliament. But we'll have to wait for the answer on the streets. This is generally where this is decided in the end.
Absolutely. Well, one thing is clear, Emmanuel Macron kicking off 2023 with an uphill battle, many will say. Could be a noisy start to the year. Mark Permon, our French politics editor. Thank you.